Breaking news, J.J. Watt has announced where he's going. No, it's not Green Bay to be up closer to his parents. No, it's not Pittsburgh to go reunite with his brothers. He's going to Arizona. What? Yes, J.J. Watt is signing with the Arizona Cardinals, and he announced it himself, actually, with this tweet, which is basically a picture of him uh, lifting weights in an Arizona Cardinals shirt, and it says, "Source, me." And then Ian Rapoport broke the news. J.J. Watt is going to the Arizona Cardinals. It's a 2-year deal worth $31 million, $23 million guaranteed. Wow. So early reaction. Let's be honest. JJ is not the same player that he was. He's had a lot of injuries down while playing for Houston, and it honestly sucks that he's had to deal with all those injuries. But at the same time, he's still JJ Watt. He can still sack the quarterback. He can still make it. Excuse me. He can still make an impact on defense. And adding him for the Cardinals is a big deal. You have the likes of guys like Isaiah Simmons, and Chandler Jones is still there, of course. I think your big question is, now that you've added JJ, does Patrick Peterson want to come back? Because if I remember right, there was at one point in time where it sounded like Peterson's been in limbo with the Cardinals the last year or so, and I think he's wanted out. But now that you've added J.J. Watt, maybe that changes his mind. Maybe he decides to come back. I'm not totally sure, but who knows? I would think that keeping Patrick Peterson on your roster would be a good thing for the Cardinals, or, well, it is a good thing. But again, we'll see what happens there. And if he does leave, then, well, you'll just have to find somebody to put in his spot. But again, this is a huge move for the Cardinals, and this is a Cardinals team that last year they had a shot to make the playoffs, but the problem was that they were wicked inconsistent on a week-to-week basis. Whether it was the offense or Cliff Kingsbury himself, they were inconsistent as fuck. And that's what ended up costing them late in the season. Well, that and Kyler Murray getting hurt late in the year, which is a big deal, and they also need to work on their offensive line as a result of that. However, this does upgrade the defense a good bit. And I think for the Cardinals right now, what they got to do going into this offseason is sort of retool the roster a bit. You could maybe, if Peterson still wants to leave, and he does, then you're going to have to find a workaround for that. And you're also going to have to work on that offensive line, maybe get a running back in the draft. Where they're positioned, they could get somebody like Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. So we'll see what happens there. And you have DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, which is the really cool part about this, is that JJ is reuniting with DeAndre. But at the same time, you still got to find a replacement for Larry Fitzgerald, because there's no fucking way in hell he's going to be there much longer. He's probably going to be done in a year or so. I am shocked that he's decided to stay there this long and not leave the Cardinals, or not leave the Cardinals whatsoever. But are the Cardinals heading in the right direction right now? Honestly, I think they're getting better. They were a team that for years was looked at as sort of like a retirement home, quote unquote, for a lot, or I also should say Pittsburgh West, because they kept taking in a lot of old Pittsburgh players. But I think right now, they're getting better. Whether Cliff Kingsbury is the right coach for them, I think we've got to wait a couple years to see. But look at the rest of the division. The 49ers, 2 out of the last 3 years, it's basically 2018, injured to fuck. 2019, Super Bowl. 2020, injured to fuck. So that means 2021, they're going to make a deep playoff run. Who the hell knows? But we got to see what happens there, because the Niners, they have the team to go far. They just need to stay healthy. The Rams, they just traded Jared Goff and more first-round picks to the Lions to get Matthew Stafford, so we have to see what happens there. And the Seahawks, well, we don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson. Is he going to get traded? Is he not? He hasn't asked for a trade, but he's already put out there the teams that he'd be willing to go to, which that list is kind of weird. But we don't really know what's going on there. So the Cardinals, in my opinion, I think they need to capitalize on this offseason to get things better both on both sides of the ball, and getting JJ Watt is a big deal for them, even if he's not the same player that he was. Now, this move I think has really shocked a lot of people. You could already tell with the reactions because it's like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, everybody was thinking he was going to go to either Green Bay or Pittsburgh. That was literally the only two teams that I think a lot of people thought had the best chance to get him. And yes, both of those teams do have issues with the cap, and they would have to make moves to be able to bring in JJ Watt. Obviously, I think the big one with the Steelers would be that they would have to restructure Ben Roethlisberger's contract. And then, if they were able to bring in JJ, then Juju's probably not coming back, even though Juju said that he wants to come back. So we'll see what happens there. And for the Packers, they're not going to be able to bring back Corey Linsley, it seems like. They're going to have to shed a couple running backs and a couple other guys. And then just out of nowhere, JJ's like, you know what? I'm going to Arizona. It's like Taylor Hall going to the Buffalo Sabres. It's like, what the fuck? Like, where the fuck did this come from? How? But, I'm happy for him. And, hey, he gets to reunite with DeAndre Hopkins, who got traded for literally no fucking reason. So, that's cool. And we'll just have to see what happens at this point. We'll have to see what the Cardinals do. But, yeah, bombshell dropped. Thank you, JJ. Thank you. So JJ Watt to the Arizona Cardinals. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe for more content like this. I will see you all next time. Peace.